When a tired gas station worker stopped to help a woman with a flat tire late at night, he didn't think twice about it. But the next morning, a limousine pulled into the station, and what happened next left everyone speechless. Welcome to Untold Narratives. Let's get started. Mark had always been the type of person who preferred to stay in the background. His life was simple, maybe even a little ordinary, but that was okay with him. He worked as a gas station attendant in a small, sleepy town, a job that many people would overlook or dismiss. But to Mark it was a stepping stone, a way to keep his head above water while he worked towards something bigger. He lived in a modest one-bedroom apartment on the outskirts of town, tucked away from the hustle and bustle. Rent was cheap, but the bills piled up quickly, and most days he barely had enough left for a meal at the end of the month. The dream of one day owning his own business wasn't just a dream for Mark. It was a quiet fire that burned within him. He didn't know exactly what kind of business it would be, but he knew it would be something where he could make his own rules, create something meaningful, and finally escape the cycle of never-ending struggle. But for now, Mark focused on the present. He gave his best every day, no matter how tired he was, and he loved helping others, whether it was guiding an elderly woman to her car or fixing a flat tire for a stranded driver. Mark believed that small acts of kindness were what made life worth living. It wasn't about recognition or a reward. In fact, most of the time his efforts went unnoticed. His boss rarely acknowledged his work, and customers came and went without ever remembering his name. He didn't mind. Mark wasn't the type to seek attention or praise. Mark's true joy came from making someone's day a little easier, a little better. He was a humble man who didn't expect anything in return, but the satisfaction of helping others gave him a sense of purpose that money or success never could. The gas station might not have been glamorous, but it was a place where he could quietly make a difference, no matter how small. His co-workers often joked about how Mark always seemed to be helping someone, whether it was fixing a flat tire in the parking lot or simply listening to someone's problems while handing over their change. To Mark, it was just the right thing to do. Despite the struggles and the way he was often overlooked, Mark didn't let negativity weigh him down. He was a fighter, and no matter how many setbacks life threw his way, he kept moving forward. His dream was bigger than any hardship he faced. He wanted to be more than just a guy working the night shift at a gas station. He wanted to be someone who made a real impact, someone who could create a life worth living, not just for himself but for others too. It was nearing midnight when a car limped into the station, its front tire shredded, the driver clearly distressed. Mark, though bone-tired from a double shift, didn't hesitate. He grabbed his gloves, walked over, and offered to help. The woman, flustered and alone, was immensely grateful. In a world that often rushed past people in need, Mark's quiet act of kindness stood out. He changed the tire, reassured her, and even refused the cash she tried to press into his hand. For him, it was just another small way to do good. But the next morning, that simple act turned into a problem. Mark's boss called him into the office, face tight with irritation. Helping with car repairs, he snapped, was not in Mark's job description. It had slowed down the register, looked unprofessional, and could have been a liability. The word stung. Mark wasn't looking for praise but punishment. The boss went further, warned Mark that another stunt like that could cost him hours, maybe even his job. Mark left the office torn. He needed this job. Every dollar mattered. But how could he turn his back on someone who needed help just because the clock said he was on duty? The very thing that made him feel human was now being treated like a mistake. And for the first time, Mark questioned whether doing the right thing was worth the risk. The morning after the reprimand, Mark arrived at the gas station early, the weight of his boss's words still heavy on his shoulders. The day ahead felt like a blur. The usual routine of filling pumps, restocking shelves, and greeting customers dragging on without any sense of purpose. He kept to himself, not wanting to draw attention. The kindness that had once felt like his calling now seemed like a liability. The station was slow that morning. Mark hadn't expected much excitement until his shift ended, when he could go home and put his mind at ease. But then, at around midday, something caught his attention. A sleek, black limousine glided into the gas station parking lot. Mark raised an eyebrow. It was rare to see such an extravagant vehicle at the small, low-key station. He stopped what he was doing, watching as a well-dressed man stepped out from the driver's seat. He opened the back door, and to Mark's shock, out stepped the woman he had helped the night before, the one with the flat tire. She looked even more polished and professional than before, a stark contrast to the exhausted woman who had been stranded just hours ago. Her heels clicked on the pavement as she walked toward the station. Mark stood frozen, unsure if he should approach. "Mark," she called out with a warm, confident smile, "I was hoping I'd find you here." The realization hit him in an instant. It was her. His heart skipped a beat. I didn't expect to see you again," Mark stammered, unsure what to say. He had no idea who she was, but something about her presence felt different. She exuded confidence, grace, and a quiet strength that stood in stark contrast to the way he was feeling. "I'm Lily," she said, extending her hand with a smile that lit up the parking lot. Mark shook it awkwardly, his mind racing. Lily went on to explain who she was. Lily Summers, a successful businesswoman with her own consulting firm. She'd been in town for a major meeting, on her way to another city, when she found herself stranded on the side of the road with that flat tire. It had been late. She'd been frustrated, and it seemed like the universe was conspiring against her. But then Mark had come to her rescue. "I've met a lot of people in my life," Lily continued, her tone genuine. "But very few people are as selfless as you were last night. You didn't hesitate to help me, even though you had no idea who I was. And that kind of kindness, it doesn't go unnoticed." Mark, still in shock, didn't quite know how to respond. A part of him felt embarrassed, as though the simple act he had done should not have warranted such recognition. After all, he was just doing what he thought was right. But Lily's words carried weight, and they lingered in the air between them. "I want to help you," Lily said, her voice steady. "I'm building something big, something that could use someone like you. I was so moved by your kindness and the way you went out of your way to make sure I was okay. That's the kind of person I want on my team." Mark's mind spun. He wasn't sure if he was hearing things correctly. This woman, who clearly had everything figured out, wanted to help him. All he had done was change a tire and offer a few kind words. "I want to offer you a position," Lily continued, pulling out a business card from her sleek handbag. "I think you'd be a perfect fit for a role I'm hiring for. It's more than just a job. It's a chance to really make an impact, and I can see you have the heart for it." Mark couldn't believe what he was hearing. A position? A chance to work with someone like Lily, someone who ran successful businesses and clearly knew how to recognize talent? He had dreamed of opportunities like this, but had never imagined one would come so unexpectedly, all because he helped a stranger with a flat tire. For a brief moment, everything else fell away. The gas station, the low-paying job, the disapproving boss. It was as if the universe had reached out and handed him a lifeline. I don't know what to say," Mark managed, his voice a little shaky. "This is incredible, but why me? I'm just a gas station worker." Lily smiled warmly. "That's the thing, Mark. You're not just a gas station worker, you're someone who sees people, who cares. And that's exactly the kind of person I need. So what do you say? Are you ready for a new chapter?" Mark stood there feeling a flood of emotions. The weight on his shoulders began to lift, replaced by a sense of possibility he hadn't felt in years. Maybe, just maybe, this act of kindness had led him somewhere he never thought possible. Standing there face to face with Mark, Lily didn't just offer gratitude. She offered opportunity. She explained how deeply his small act of kindness had impacted her. In a world where people often rushed past one another, his selflessness reminded her of the kind of person she wanted to work with and invest in. Then came the words Mark never expected to hear. "I'm starting a new outreach division in my company, focused on community and service. I want someone like you to lead it, and if that's not your path, I'd be happy to help you start your own business. You helped me without knowing who I was. Let me return the favor." Mark was stunned. One quiet moment of doing the right thing, something he'd done countless times without recognition, had suddenly opened a door he'd only ever dreamed of. The same job that had nearly punished him for kindness had now become the reason he was being offered a way out, a way up. Mark didn't hesitate. The decision to leave the gas station job wasn't an easy one. After all, it had been his steady source of income, even if it barely covered the bills. But what Lily offered was a chance to not only pursue his dreams, but to do so in a way that aligned with his values. He knew he couldn't let the opportunity slip away. He accepted Lily's offer, and just like that, Mark's life took a turn. No longer bound to long shifts at the gas station, he began working alongside Lily, focusing on the new outreach division. It was everything he'd hoped for. His passion for helping others wasn't just recognized, it was celebrated. Every day he found himself using the very traits that had once felt like a liability: his empathy, his kindness, his willingness to lend a hand, to make a real difference. Mark's world was transforming. The stability he'd always craved started to settle in, and for the first time in years he felt fulfilled. The work wasn't just a job, it was a purpose, and it paid off in ways he'd never imagined. As time went by, Mark's contributions became invaluable to the company. He was promoted, given more responsibilities, and, most importantly, received recognition for his dedication. People didn't just see him as the nice guy anymore. They saw him as a leader, a driver of change. His reputation grew, and so did his opportunities. He had finally found his place in the world. Mark's dream of a better life had started with one simple act of kindness, and now that dream was coming true in ways he had never thought possible. He had everything he needed: stability, recognition, and the chance to build the life he'd always wanted. True kindness doesn't go unnoticed. The impact of one small, selfless act can change your life and open doors to opportunities you never imagined. The universe always rewards those who choose to do what's right. Mark's story is a reminder that the little things matter, those quiet, selfless moments when we choose to help others, even when it's inconvenient or goes unacknowledged. We often think that our efforts are too small to make a difference, or that doing the right thing won't be noticed. But the truth is, kindness has a way of finding its way back to us, sometimes in the most unexpected forms. Mark didn't know that his decision to help a stranger would lead him to a better life or open up the kind of opportunities he only dreamed about. He didn't expect recognition or rewards, but by simply doing what was right, he attracted exactly what he needed at the right moment. The universe has a way of rewarding those who choose to act with integrity, those who stay true to their values even when it's hard. When you lead with kindness, the path forward becomes clearer, and sometimes the very thing you need finds its way to you, just like it did for Mark. So remember, every act of kindness counts, and you never know how one small moment can shift the course of your life. If you were inspired by Mark's story, be sure to hit the like button, share this video with your friends, and leave a comment telling us about a time when kindness changed your life. Don't forget to subscribe for more uplifting stories and amazing transformations like this one.